Hey, hello, and welcome to another episode. We are pretty excited today. We're always excited when we get to talk to outside the normal roles and things, and when we get to talk to inkers and letterers and all kinds of stuff like that, and then also the business side. People that have watched us know we've talked to some pretty cool comic shop owners, and then also like people that run cons and things. So they've all got great stories. And these guys, I'm sure, have, just from what little I know of the couple little interviews and little things I've seen and read, it does sound interesting. Kind of one of those cool things. But yeah, we'll let you kind of introduce yourselves and kind of just let us know like why you love comics and how you got into collecting them, and now you're involved with creating them.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. I'll start. My name's Adam Brooks, and we are two of the owners of Gold Key Comics. We've got another partner, some other people in our lives that helped us get to where we are. But I read a couple comics when I was a kid, but I was really a driven kid, and so I didn't really get into comics till I was a little older. I had worked in education, was a high school special ed teacher, and was starting to work with kids who were suicidal or struggling with mental health, and were depressed and cutting and the whole thing. And I became a motivational speaker to really talk to kids about those things. And I found myself getting a little depressed myself and struggling with my own mental health, working with that population. And I was literally driving to Palm Springs to give a speech. I listened to Kevin Smith's autobiography, talking about his love of comics and how it was an escape for him. And I came home and I walked into a comic shop store, and I flipped through a long box of comics and hadn't thought about anything else in my life. That whole hour I was spent with that long box. And I was like, this is it. This is my escape. This is something exciting. So I walked up to the owner of the shop and I bought the most expensive comic in the store, and realized that's probably not the best way to start collecting. And then I went to a couple friends who were collectors and said, I want to get into this. I don't know what to do. And he goes, buy what you love. Buy what you love. So I went. The first trade paperback I bought was Ice Cream Man, had just come out, was brand new. I read it back front to cover. I just was so excited to read it. I picked up a couple other books, trade paperbacks I read. I've always been a big G.I. Joe fan. So reading kind of the old G.I. Joe trades and that kind of stuff. So that kind of got me really excited about it. And then just started collecting and selling and doing a bunch of different things and kind of dove head first. So yeah.
That's pretty cool. Yeah, it's a good escape from. It's hard to be in that headspace. It can be really unhealthy. So.
Well, let me just tell you just a real quick story. I'm so sorry, but you can cut it if you don't want to use it. But
no, it's fine.
I literally walked into a comic shop right down the street from my house, and I was buying some comics, and I ran into one of my former students. And I was like, what are you doing here? And he goes, dude, I was in a psych hospital for a couple weeks. I tried to hurt myself, and I didn't know what to do. And my brother had brought me in the new Incredible Hulk series to keep me occupied while I was in there, and I'm obsessed now. So now this is my local comic shop. This is where I come for my weekly comics. And I'm like, what? And so we had this whole exchange about why I had gotten into it, why he got into it. The owner was like moved. So like gave him all his books for free. And it was just very like really kind of come full circle a little bit. So
how long ago was that?
2016. So yeah, it's been 8 years now.
Wow.
Yeah.
So okay, what's your exciting story?
Oh man,
Mr. a lot of
pressure. Well, I'll be honest. I feel like in this room with you guys, I feel like a little bit of an intruder. I'm not a creator. I can't draw for crap. I'm not great at writing either. And in fact, I would even say that as a kid, I didn't even read comic books. But so I'm similar to Adam. I actually came into comics through the aftermarket, and in kind of when COVID hit, and I had some other. It's a wild story. 5 years ago, I was scrounging for change for Jack in the Box tacos out of my car still, and my wife was lucky enough to be getting a sign-on bonus as a nurse, and she got a $10,000 bonus, and she's like, "Here, you take 1,000, I'll take 1,000. You can spend it on whatever you want." I was like, "Yes," and I told her, I was like, "Well, if I can spend this $1,000 on comic books, I think I could make some money out of it." And she was like depressed by it. Like here I was, like not making any money. I'm sitting in the garage. I went and bought a bunch of comic books, and I'm sorting through them and looking up values, and kind of came in through the aftermarket. However, that ended up paying off, and I started a company that now is 6-7 employees strong and 5,000 square feet of warehouse, and we live stream and all that sort of stuff. However, through that though, I did pick up some loves and have grown really fond of comics. Jeff Lemire has risen to the top. Alan Moore stuff, which is probably so obvious for so many of you guys,
right?
But experiencing some of his work. I'm a really big fan of Michael Conrad, who we were so lucky to get as the lead writer on this. If you guys have read any of his work, he's very, very good. And so I'm still
the Boris Karloff one you're talking about.
Yeah, and he's currently the lead writer for X-O Manowar. He just got off the Wonder Woman title. He also has some self-published stuff, or even the Comixology put out some horror books. He's amazing, and I can't wait for issue 2 of Boris Karloff comes out. It starts to reveal all of the back end, and some of the things start to tie together. But which through the Boris series, although it is an anthology, there is a mainstay story that will continue throughout, and then there will also be short stories that can play in, and we can talk more about that stuff too. But so I'm still learning, but I'm very familiar with the art, the artists, especially anything pre-91. If we were to take this camera that way, we're on a mezzanine, you would see a warehouse, a sea of comics. We're handling them all the time. I've seen the guy on the Gator, so I'm familiar with the Florida Man, but I haven't seen it yet. I've seen a lot of that sort of stuff. So I feel like a little bit of an intruder, and then I probably haven't actually gone as deep as you guys have, but yeah.
But that's, in a lot of ways, that's kind of good that you're not blinded by the love or whatever, like a lot of people are now. I mean, there's a lot of people getting in that are just like, oh, well, I'll try this because I want to, it's not that expensive or compared to doing a movie or something else. But they're not very business smart at all, and I actually like the fact that that you guys are doing Kickstarters and things, because that's kind of where the market is right now, where even even the big, I think except Marvel and DC, almost everybody is doing Kickstarters now, because it's just the reality of that's what it takes to be able to fund stuff. And that's, to me, because I'm kind of like into the business side too. And I try to make smart decisions and try to give people good advice when it comes to that stuff. A lot of creators, because a lot of creative people are shy, or dealing with different issues, kind of like what he was talking about, and they're not really great at representing themselves and being outspoken and stuff like that. So they need people like you and others to be able to help kind of facilitate that and get stuff out there. So I actually respect it. I know you guys have a Kickstarter coming up soon for one of your books. And then I think, and you also have Boris Karloff #2 coming out soon. And I assume you can get #1 on your website.
Is Boris Karloff #1 out?
It's out. It's in stores worldwide. We had over 2,500 stores pick it up. It was great. It was awesome. Issue 2, we've sold twice as many, which is really cool for us. We're not Marvel and DC. We're not Thundercats. You guys have heard the news on that. But we're the fact that people we don't know are out there buying our books is a really special feeling, and so we feel very grateful for it.
Well, it's
cool. Where are you guys located?
What's that?
Where are you located?
We're in Peoria, Arizona. He's in
Peoria,
Phoenix,
Arizona.
Arizona. Yeah.
Wow. Mike knows that area. I mean, so do I, but
Okay. Have you guys lived here before? Or?
No, my partner Steve Rude lives in Phoenix.
Yeah.
I don't know how close that is to Peoria. I'm in Colorado.
Yeah.
Yeah, 10 minutes. I mean, we could be in Phoenix. We're in Phoenix in 10 minutes.
Yeah. My daughter used to live there too. That's where
Cool.
in that area, kind of in between Peoria and Phoenix area. So we're both pretty familiar with that.
Yeah.
I can. This is making a little bit more sense to me now too, especially because of with like the sales aspect of collecting and selling. Because my son does that. That's kind of like his side gig, and he loves Gold Key Comics, especially because it has that historic side to it. And it's funny. He had a message for you guys. He's like, make sure they do the painted covers. He's like, I love those painted covers.
Yeah, that was something that we kind of captured our imagination as well, and why we were like, okay, we have to do something painted because it's just so iconic.
I don't know if you guys can see that, but this is a painted cover we did. Nice. By Terrence Wolfinger. Yeah, it was beautiful. It came out great. So we do with every single book that we do, we release an old school painted cover with it.
Nice.
Yeah, that's kind of one of the things that we really care about is submitting. Like you said, every issue will have a variant of a painted cover at some point.
Right. Yeah, and obviously, I mean, don't necessarily expect it for some of the more cartoony stuff, but it's always cool to see it for that too.
Yeah,
I'm sure
careful
with the Figgy or whatever. Yeah, you guys are going to be doing that.
Yeah,
but yeah,
there'll be a G cover there too, buddy. Don't you worry about it.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sure because I mean that stuff looks great. It looks great too. Painted. But do you guys have well, I guess you guys can tell the story. I was going to ask if you guys had well, I'll just go ahead and do it since that I keep leading on. Do you guys have any favorites from the old Gold Key stuff that you've got? I mean, even stuff that you found like now or whatever where you're like, oh man, this is really cool that Gold Key did this or whatever. Of the old stuff, not the new stuff.
My favorite single issue comic from Gold Key of the old guard was Tiger Girl, which is reminiscent of a Florida Man cover I've actually seen. She's riding a tiger. But it's such a great cover if you guys haven't seen it. And it's a one-off and it's a little bit elusive. And like if you look up information on it, there's not a lot of information on her, but I just absolutely love that cover. Anything George Wilson, though, that his painted covers, Don Newton did some cool stuff, The Phantom. Really enjoyed looking through a lot of that. Anything horror related.
Yeah, I mean, for me, like a Magnus Robot Fighter is like, for me, that's just epic. That's this iRobot capture attention.
Well, as long as you bring that up, Adam, what are the chances of you getting the license to those three titles that are all superhero related: Magnus, Dr. Solar, and Turok?
It's a great question.
I could speak into that.
Yeah, we've been working on some of these things.
Yeah, Dynamite.
But doesn't Valiant? Do they still own those trademarks?
Dynamite.
I think it's Dynamite now. It was Valiant and then Dynamite. And if anybody's watching, they can correct me on that. I have spent my fingers are calloused looking through the interweb of trying to figure out who's. I even called, and if the owner of Dynamite's listening, I even called the owner of Dynamite, left him a voicemail, asked him to call me back. We're trying to get in touch with them. It's been really difficult. And not to take it away, but maybe find a partnership or a way that we can come together and do something really rad there. Because we get hit up. I'm telling you,
I'm sure
10 to 20 emails a day about Magnus Robot Fighter, Turok, Star Trek. You name it. I mean, there's Dark Shadows is another big popular one that we get hit up on.
Right.
We're trying. I mean, we're definitely pursuing these if we can. Right. Like Lance said, even if it's a partnership, we want those stories need to be told and need to continue on. So whether it's a Gold Key only or whether it's a Gold Key in conjunction with Dynamite or Valiant or whoever has it, we want to do it. It's just tracking that down has been a little. People are pretty tight-lipped sometimes about that. So.
Oh yeah, no, and it gets confusing too. I've been trying to track down who owns the current rights to Thundar, the Barbarian, for years, and I still have no idea.
You might as well just publish something, Jeff.
Yeah,
just publish something. See who comes out of the woodwork.
Yeah,
we've thought about it. Like, let's just put it out. See what happens.
Yeah, whoever sues us first, we'll know who owns it.
Right?
And like,
if we get sued, it'll be a big story, and we'll blame it on you guys.
Yeah.
You know, every time I insert some reference to a Marvel comic into one of my books, as I did in Private American, and people say, "Aren't you afraid that Marvel is going to sue you?" And I say, I get down on my knees every day and pray to God that Marvel will sue me.
Yeah.
Right?
It'll sell so many books.
All right, so Mike, you're going to be the lead writer on Magnus Robot Fight. You're coming out.
Yeah.
Well, you know, I've written Magnus before.
Yeah, he actually did with Valiant, right?
Okay,
that's right.
Yeah, he was involved with a few of those.
I wrote 2 Magnus Nexus crossovers, a number of Turoks with Rags Morales, and I would love to work with him again.
Yeah, amazing.
Yeah, he's done quite a bit. Yeah, we know quite a few other people who've done stuff who love that stuff. I was even wondering, would you guys consider? Would you just rather not like do something that's like adjacent, kind of inspired by a certain thing? Like I know in one of your which I love too. Like I love some of the cartoon issues the Gold Key did, and even where they did like almost like an anthology where they had like Space Ghost and Herculoids and like something else in there, where you would do something in like that style and kind of inspired by those characters, but not necessarily those, since you don't have the rights, or would you just totally rather create something new?
I think so. Right now there's a large, I'll say a small arm, a large arm. There's a wing of us that is working on trying to get as many of the original titles as possible. We are in talks with other properties that were under the Gold Key name currently. I can't say who they are yet because I haven't finalized the deals. Second, we hope to establish new characters and bring them into the world. And, with Figgy Furthermore, for example, I wouldn't say that it's reminiscent of another character, but it's definitely reminiscent of that Hanna-Barbera style of work. And we've had a lot of people ask for that too. And, we made and just speaking of like, getting feedback, in issue number 1 of Boris, we were a little explicit, and the old fans let us know we don't want those words in there. So we changed them to the asterisk, so they're more implied, because I get that, Gold Key was a little more wholesome or family friendly back in the day.
I was going to say family friendly. Yeah.
So how do we bring it into the future a little bit and modernize it, still be a little risque, but not, piss off our base. And that's been a fun challenge. But yeah, so there will be things like the old stuff, but not necessarily like a nod to a specific old character. We haven't really talked about that right now.
Yeah, we kind of feel like, I'll talk about Adam. My opinion is it's hard to do something adjacent when I'd just rather get the original, right? Like, let's just go after the original license. I don't want to do Boris's nephew. You know what I mean? Because I can't get Boris. I'd rather just get Boris. So it's one of those things where, it's just preference. And maybe there's something that comes up where we really need it. We've got a great story and we just can't get the license. Then maybe we could look at that. But so far, and to be really honest with you and blunt, we lucked out with Boris. Literally getting the license was so easy and so simple and so fair that like we just assumed we'd get all the other licenses the same way.
Right.
So you're like, oh, of course we can get more licenses, no problem. And then you go, oh no, that was just like meant to be, and these other ones are going to take a little more work.
Yeah.
Have you thought about creating original properties?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I think that's phase 3 for us. We 100% know that the future is in owning your own IP outright, not just licensing from others. So we're hoping to kind of build some brand loyalty, get a customer base first, and then start to play with and bring in new characters. We are bringing in a new character with Figgy furthermore, but that's a creator-owned project. Jay Stevens owns that, and we're pumped on that, and we're happy to be the first house that sits in. But yeah, we absolutely plan on doing that. We keep talking about doing a retreat and just spending some time dreaming up the world. There is another company that is interested in helping be a part of that. Again, another thing I can't really speak too much into, but ultimately, yeah, we're headed there for sure.
Well, that's one of our dreams. Is we see so many comic companies that are siloed and isolate themselves, and then it's very much a mine versus yours mentality. And we really want to do it ours. These are our community. These are our people, and we're all in this together. And we'll wear your shirt if you wear ours, and let's celebrate together, and let's really bring quality to people in a way that nobody gets screwed over, nobody gets taken advantage of, that feels authentic and real, and really can tell some good stories, because that's important to us. We actually all of the owners of Gold Key actually own our own separate businesses. So it's just something that we are bringing to the Gold Key idea that, we want to care for people. So we see it in our other companies.
Yeah. So what are the things that I guess that you guys have learned from your other companies that you've kind of brought to Gold Key with, like, how you do things or informed, whether it's with people or business or, I mean, just whatever?
Yeah, no, that's a great question.
I would, he kind of touched on it, but there seems to be, when I run into like, there seems to be with some circles, this competitiveness. Even you see it in comic shops. I used to own a comic store.
There's a lot. Yeah, there is a lot.
Yeah, and we've just never been that way. It's like, hey, we're gonna, like you said, we're gonna wear your T-shirt. We hope you wear ours. We're gonna promote other stores. Same thing. I'm working in the restaurant industry and bar industry, and I'm just so pro the rest of the community. So we've made really, really good friendships with the other publishers, and that's something that I think that has helped us a lot. We're in tight with some of the guys at Boom, some of the guys at DC, and just anybody and everybody. We just see it as an asset and as a friend. We're not in competition at all. Massive's another group of friends of ours, a lot of them. But so that's something that we've kind of brought in. It's just like, nothing but love here, no hate, and we're also quick to say our bad. Sorry if we did something wrong, because we're learners. We're not trying to be
perfect.
Yeah. Another thing we brought in is early on, we realized that a lot of publishers will throw a million things at the wall and hope something sticks. And we keep getting told that's the way to go. That's the way to go. We've just said, no way. We want to be thoughtful, one at a time, roll them out so that we can do them as good as we possibly can, and honor the creators that we're working with. If we had 10 projects going, they'd be drowning. They'd be terrible.
Right.
We don't have the kind of legs that Marvel and DC has. We don't have the kind of bank account that some of those companies have. So we've got to be more thoughtful about how we do it.
Oh yeah, I mean, well, even just from a business standpoint, and I've said this a few times, just to remind people and to remind them to support independent creators, or even just the comics or people that they really like, because there's like, I don't know if it's still true, but I know last year was still like 200 to 250 new comics every week. I mean, which is like crazy oversaturated for how many people are actually buying it. So
they're not buying them.
Yeah, exactly. Because you can't. I mean, nobody can.
Anyways. Well, they could if they were telling vital, exciting stories. But as we've seen with the big two, they're just making one misstep after another.
Yeah.
Well, I think that there's a mentality of cool covers rule the world, and so what we're really trying to do is tell great stories. You want to always kind of see the undercurrent of what's going on, and that's what we're missing right now, is some really just rich, interesting, great stories. And so that's really right. What draws us to it and why we get excited about it. My company I own is a educational consulting company. I'm giving a speech tomorrow in Tucson for 80 dental offices about how to get ready for the new year. And so for me, like, the idea of storytelling is important for me. I do it on stage all the time. I gave my TED Talk, and my TED Talk was all stories. Like, that's stories are important for me to connect to people. And so I just want to see Gold Key do that on page because it's so important these days.
And, it's an interesting point is our tagline, if you look at our website or even at the back of his t-shirt here, there's a tag sewn in that says story never dies.
Yeah.
And the thinking was that when we put stuff together, we have to elevate. If the story's good, we can, get brand loyalty. We can get people to sink their teeth into the story more than the art. Even, we really want great stories. The art is a part of that story, that helping communicate that story. So we very much believe in that. And I'll say that we haven't been perfect at it either. There's challenges that we've learned as a new publisher. We say yes to a writer. We vet everybody. We go, okay, I think this is the right guy to put a short story in. Deadline's coming. Where's the story, man? Where's the story? Here it is. And we read it. We go, oh no, oh no, I don't have enough money to change right now. Last second, and then people, comes out, and people go, ha! Terrible storytellers you guys are. And we're like, so you got to understand. There's, this is a part of the publishing that we're learning, and we're really open about it. And we actually really. I'm not even speaking bad about any of our writers. I'm just saying that we've run into situations like that where we've had to really adjust and think on our feet quickly. And has it all been perfect? No, but
because when you own your own company, I'll just push the date back, right? So I get it right. The problem is when publishing is, oh no, Diamond's waiting for you to send them their thing. We have some other deadlines that are out there that it's like, well, now we have to really be more thoughtful in the beginning. So it's been a learning curve. It's been a huge learning curve for us. And we're like, all this stuff we didn't think about.
We're getting better though, I promise.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, you have to react to the market and everything too. And I know at the end of this past year, a lot of indies numbers were way down as far as the direct market goes. So there were, so with Scout Comics, who's doing one of my comics, and a few others, they just basically had to cancel, and they're gonna re-up them later this year, and put new dates for them because they were just, because the numbers were just plummeting, and it's like you guys can't control the economy and things.
Well, on however though, again, on Boris #1, the Boris Karloff series back, we've done over 6 figures on that book. So we're
that's great.
Because because you got the name.
And that helped. And issue 2 is doing better than issue 1. It's not even out yet. So, and there's things we're going to be releasing soon about issue 2 that we're very excited about, that I think will even drive more. We talked about the aftermarket earlier. We've realized something we learned, bringing our companies in. The aftermarket helps drive sales to the new stories, because when we can excite people on #1 or a variant or exclusive, they go, I want in on #2, and so we're kind of trying to hit it from both of those ends, not just celebrating what's coming, but also celebrating what's been done, so people can see what, latch their teeth into these things.
Is Boris monthly?
It's quarterly.
Are all your titles going to be quarterly?
No. So Figgy will be we're going to do a re-release of Figgy that'll be monthly after the Kickstarter. And then
excuse me, what's that title? Ziggy?
No, Figgy.
No, it's Figgy Furthermore, the Spirit Guide Dog. It's actually, I'll take my chance to plug it real quick. It's a really incredible story about a boy and his dog. The dog dies, and it comes back in the afterlife because his owner, how they do it, as this little boy that is a troublemaker and gets into a lot of trouble. And so
he's a typical boy, as we all know growing up.
So the dog comes back to haunt the boy to keep him from getting into trouble. And they get into all these hilarious scenarios and scenes. And there's also other short stories attached to it. There's a short story called Wax and Wane that will be a 4-pager in every issue about these 2 aliens that come down to Earth to take a baby back to their planet's zoo, because their humans that are on display are getting old and dying off, and so they need new babies. But these aliens have no idea what they're doing. they don't know anything about the first thing about humans. So there's a ton of fun in it. It's a great kind of Saturday morning.
Right.
How do you spell that? Wax and Wayne. How do you spell that?
WAX and WANE.
That's what I thought.
Yeah. Very, very clever kind of fourth wall things happening throughout the whole book. Jay is, if you guys haven't seen Jay Stevens' work, he did Dwellings, the horror series that Oni sold out third printing, I think. All issues they put out. Alan Moore's commented on his work saying just really incredible stuff. We're very excited to be working on the campaign. We think it might get missed by some of, we all love the scary, dark, and hard and heavy stuff. We're hoping people don't miss this though, because it is so good. It is so good and refreshing.
I think people need happy right now. So
totally. And I just picture like a whole family walking to a comic store and grabbing this comic and having it be like a family affair a little bit more. It's so easy to see the stereotypical comic collector coming in, staring at the wall, grabbing 2 books and leaving. And I just really want to see this be such a good family event of like, oh, let's talk about it. That's so crazy and funny and just such a good throwback.
Yeah.
It's funny because comic books are the worst medium for horror there is. And yet it's such a popular genre in the comics.
Yes, but I've told Mike, and I know he doesn't believe this because he hates digital, but the horror works really good for digital comics.
You may have a point
if you have it panel by panel. If you have it panel by panel, the especially like the jump scares or the gunshots and stuff. Because I was talking with one of the owners of like Aftershock and different thing, and I was like, man, you're good, and they're like, man, our horror comics do really well in Comixology, and we don't know why. And I was like, well, if people have it on the panel by panel, you get those jump scares, you get those sudden, somebody's right behind somebody, you get, sudden gunshots and things. I was like, that it works really well. It doesn't work so well when you have it on the open page and you can see a gunshot coming or whatever. And some of that too, and this is a craft thing for me, but I guess advice for you guys is to try to hire people that actually know to like try to time their scares and their different things or their funny things for when the page turns. So there's the reveal, like you're not looking ahead, because some people would just go ahead and just do it. And it's like, there is a craft and an art to it if you can really use the page turn that way.
That's one of the problems with comics, because you pick the comic up and you flip through.
Yeah.
But it's not hurting sales. I just comment that I don't believe comics are the best medium for horror, and yet horror comics always do well. They're always popular.
Sure. Well, we're both collectors of pre-code horror, so we love the old horror stories. Right. Just because that's so interesting, what they would allow on the cover sometimes, and be like, who was like, this is great, let's put this in front of everybody. And so there's some really cool stuff that we love about that. But I can understand the struggle with it. And that's something we learned in layout. When we were laying out our first book, we're like, oh, that page turn you were talking about is so vital. Yeah.
Because the cool, and that's I think that's one of the reasons why horror and some other things work so well. And even like, I don't know, like big epic, like sci-fi stuff where you got like 2-page spreads a lot, or full, where you just get that awe because the reader controls the pace of the story. So they can do it however fast or however slow, they want. And it's a great tool to use, as long as you have people that actually, know how to tell stories with comics. And that's the biggest thing. That's one of the number one complaints that we've heard from professionals, is that as opposed to in the 80s and 90s, a lot of the people that were editors and there were editors at different, and assistant editors, like they all had comic experience. Like they all had they had gone through the stuff, and they knew how to tell those stories, what they knew, kind of the process of stuff. And now
many were writers too.
Yeah, and many of them were writers, and now it's a lot of people. A lot of the editors and assistant editors are coming straight out of college, and they don't really understand the sequential art form. It's like I don't necessarily like. I don't think publishers, and I don't think a lot of the other roles, like you have to know that stuff. But if you're an editor and you're going to be editing the writers and the artists, it's like you need to understand that, and they just. That's an area too where it seems like they're kind of failing because just like with the page turn thing, man, Marvel and DC screw that up all the time. Like with their newer stuff, like you constantly see stuff coming because they're just doing one dang panel after another, and there's not as much of a craft to it as there used to be, and it's just because at the same point in time too, people are making less and they just got to crank stuff out and meet deadlines. And I mean, I know a lot of it is that too, but that's one of the tough things. And that's one of the things I think is great. Like if you have business savvy people, like, okay, we need these people in this role, and it's not just going to be my buddy or whatever, it's like we actually need somebody that knows something about like what they're talking about. And I mean, that's like so key. And that's why I'm glad that you guys actually do have decent other businesses and things, and you understand those things. It's like, it's not necessarily what I like, but it's like, this is what I need. This is why we need the different personalities, the different, styles and tones and everything. I will say
all the time on art and on stories, and we're like, no, I think this needs to be this or this needs to be that. And so sometimes we just have to say, let's see what other people think.
You're never gonna be able to predict how things are gonna go over. But I did want to say one of the things I really liked that you guys had mentioned a couple times was how big you are on like community and realizing how important it is to have a community like behind you, and that being a reason why you do want to do Kickstarters and things like that is to get those people involved. And I don't know. I think that's a great way to go. And I like that you guys, it's hard to do because everybody's fighting for all these communities, but as long as you guys stay true to what you think and what you're trying to do, it's like, you'll definitely.
We've even talked about doing an industry night here where we just we get together once a quarter, once every other month or whatever, and just invite people who are in the industry and just talk about, how's it going? You doing all right? Like, man, sometimes you feel a little beat up in the industry, so let's all take care of each other.
Yeah, and definitely respond to people. That's a big knock on comic professionals. They don't respond. I mean, they don't even for negative stuff. They just don't respond. And you're like, what?
Adam knows I wake every morning. He wakes up to a text. Hey guys, you have to respond to so and so. They're very angry with us right now, and if we don't respond to them, and we really try to go above and beyond and love on anybody who's upset with us. Just say, hey, like, we're human beings. We can make mistakes. Probably the biggest mistake, just full transparency, we've ever made was the first Kickstarter we did. We found a printer that was very capable of doing all of the variants and the slipcover and the hardcover and the soft cover and the different, like, oh, perfect. We can get this all done in one house. What we didn't realize was that they were a middleman outsourcing it to other places overseas. So they had to do all them and then go through customs and then come back. And then they were also from overseas, and then it came back to us. And I mean, we went from thinking it would be done in 3 months to, we are just now getting it out. They're down there still shipping them right now. It's been an amazing process.
It was last May, actually, when we released it. So.
But, people were very upset, and we were just, dying over here. Like, we're doing everything we can.
Right. I can't fly to China and pick up your books. I wish I could.
But we learned, and we said, okay, we're forever going to print here domestically on these Kickstarter campaigns because we know we're going to have them a lot sooner, a lot quicker. We're going to have to pay up a little bit for it, but worth it, and so let's learn. But the books came out beautiful. They ended up doing a great, phenomenal job.
Yeah, the product is amazing, but it just took so long to get it that we didn't realize So there was a lot of apologies, a lot of messages, a lot of phone calls, a lot of conversations of just like, hey guys, like, trust me, we don't feel good being in this position. We don't want to be in. I want you to have this. It is out of our hands right now, and we are frustrated as all get out. So all we can do is promise that in the future we're going to make this change. But also, I'm from the industry where people are going to throw shade at you all the time, and so I've learned to keep my mouth shut. But that's not always the best. That's not always the best thing to do when it comes to comics. And so Lance has done a really good job where he picks up the phone and is like, "Hey, I saw you post this on our Instagram. Let's talk about it. What's going on? Is everything okay? Or what do you want to see for issue 2 if you didn't like issue 1?" And so we've actually tried to turn our biggest critics into our friends and into our fans, because we want to include them. I don't want you to feel like you're being excluded. So what can we do?
There was a guy late one night after issue 1 came out who got on YouTube, and he's probably probably pushing 70, you know, and so I really wanted his respect, and he I was just like, oh no. So I got on and just commented and was very kind about it. And he ended up reaching out. I got on the phone with him, and we ended up having this great conversation. He's going to be reviewing number 2 now for us.
Cool.
And so, man, this guy was, you know, just to call him, it was like, he had to wait for me to talk through his answering machine just to pick up and make sure, you know, he wasn't going to pick up the phone for anybody. It was hilarious.
But that's great. We need more personal touch like that. So let's see. You guys have, I know we definitely want to hit and let people know about the Figgy Furthermore Kickstarter, launches February 12th. Are there any things that you want to kind of promote about it? As far as do you have all the levels and everything sorted out?
I'll tell you a few things that not a lot of people have picked up on. The amazing Paul Pope is doing a cover for us on that, if you guys are familiar. So that's news that hasn't really been fully shared. It was in the press release, ended up being like, you know, those press releases are so dry and pick up the tagline. So we were expecting a little more from that, but Paul Pope is doing a cover on it. So we're very excited about that. We're also doing a 3D cover version with the red and blue glasses.
Oh, nice.
It's a ton of fun. The whole campaign is going to be amazing. The preview page is live now, so you can go and follow along. We're really trying to get followers on that.
Put that in the private chat.
Yeah.
Put the link to your preview page.
Do we do that on our...
Jeff, do you have it?
No, I don't have it, but I can put it later. This will air tonight.
All right.
Yeah, I'll email it to you.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that comes out, and then February 12th that goes live, and I think we have similar to last time. You know, our goal is if we can hit $12,000 in sales, we'll be able to get, you know, everything hopefully fulfilled. And then the numbers as they go up from there will kind of self-pay for everything. So we feel pretty confident we'll hit those levels, but it's just it's great. I mean, we really want people to. This
Kickstarter, in my opinion, is really going to scratch the back of anyone who wants just to kind of relive the fun of collecting as a kid, whether it was baseball cards or whether it was, you know, comic books. Like, it's going to have a little bit of for everyone, just kind of fun wise and really cool little trinkets and things and stuff you can have. And so it's pretty exciting. We love Figgy because it's such a cool idea that really helps us connect to this, you know, to kids, man. I want to relive my childhood. That's why I collect comics, right? Like, I want to relive some of these things. And so for me, it gets really exciting. So Figgy I'm pumped. It's one of our favorite new projects. We've had a couple other projects come and go, and we've talked about and stuff. But when this one came across our desk and we started talking to Jay, it was like, how do we do this? 100% yes. We're in. We're kindred. We think alike. We're excited. he's Canadian, but he's always at the cons up there, and fans love him. So it's like, let's do this.
And we've been stalking him for like 2 years.
Yeah.
But he had to work with us eventually. The other people that are involved, there's this amazing artist out of Australia called Aaron Craig, who we're bringing in for the first time into the comic medium. He's doing a variant cover. That's Aaron Craig with a C. He's incredible. If you guys check his artwork out, it is perfect for this project.
Yep.
Erin Hunting, who I think is at 200,000 plus followers on Instagram. She's doing the cover for us on there. There's Keys and Grails, Matt Ritchie from Keys and Grails. He specializes in designing the corner boxes for comics. His stuff's fun. He's on there. Scott Cirkland is a homie here in Arizona. So we like to bring our homies on board with us too.
Yeah.
He's doing some really cool stuff.
Mm-hmm. Terry Wolfinger.
Yeah, Terry
Wolfinger is doing a cover for us, a painted cover for Figgy that's going to be insane. We just got it. My mind is like melting. I'm like, this is so good.
Cool.
I don't know how you do a cartoon cover painted, but he nailed it. So
I'm gonna break a rule here and show you guys something we weren't gonna post online yet. But it'll be quick, and I gotta see if I can find it on my phone. And you're just gonna see it through my phone, so I don't even know if they got my screen.
I know. All right, go.
I'll make it as big as I can.
Right? You better hurry up, man.
All right, so this is a terrible photo, but
oh man,
we're doing old school wax packs with bubble gum. The whole night. It'll be coming out on the Kickstarter.
Yeah,
with it. Scott Cirkland helped us with that. So
nice.
We're really pumped to share that for whatever reason. But
again, it just feeds the kid in us, and we're like so excited, like little tattoos and everything. We're like, let's just do it all, man. It'd be so fun.
Yeah. That's like you could do a scratch and sniff where it smells like formaldehyde from when he died or something.
Do you know the Kiss, when Marvel put out a Kiss comic, the boys went up to the printer in Montreal and they cut their hands and bled into the ink, and that was a selling point.
Yep. Their DNA is on every one of those comics.
So I not to flip it around, but I want to know, what are you guys working on, and how can we support and shout out about your stuff? And we love to mention and kind of highlight other people's work. So,
well, my graphic novel about the police, Thin Blue Line, is going into comic shops in March. It's in previews right now. It's going to be, you can order it up till tomorrow, and that's the last day when they cut it off. We crowdfunded that initially. It was immensely popular. And you probably know I'm working for Rippaverse now. My book, Gooding, The Polymath, is coming out in the spring. And our next project that we're crowdfunding is going to be a brand new Nexus by Kelsey Shannon. And you can find all my books at baroncomics.com. And
do you have like an Instagram handle that we can tag you in?
I'm on Instagram, but Ann put me there, and I know nothing about Instagram, but let me give you the handle.
He's more on
MySpace?
MySpace, yeah.
No, I'm active on Twitter and Facebook. That's about all I can handle. I don't understand anything else.
Okay, well, Twitter also we can.
Yeah, we're happy to shout you out however you prefer.
I mean, I think the Thin Blue Line thing, if it's final order cough today.
Yeah.
Tomorrow's the last day you can order it. Here I am on Twitter, boys.
That's awesome, because
I put it in my chat.
Yeah.
One of my favorite comic shops here in town is he's a retired police officer. So that owns a comic shop. So it's just right up
the artist on that is a police officer, wasn't he?
That's true. My artist is a full-time police officer, and after the book came out in crowdfunding, police officers from all around the country started to contact me, saying that I really want to do art. Would you take a look? And a lot of them are phenomenally good, and we've been using some of them, like Adam Miller. And Brian Silverbacks, who's on Facebook, is another police officer who quit to paint. And I'm sure Joe Jusko was a police officer.
Yep. I didn't know that.
But don't they just draw those like the criminal sketches though?
Everything's just an outline.
Everything's just a white outline.
That's a courtroom
Exactly.
artist.
And I missed the handle. I want to make sure we get it right. Oh, you wrote it in. Okay.
I got it. We got it.
Never mind.
They got it. Yeah, he's on there. Oh man, I'm not gonna remember my handles, but I will also let you know. Yeah, Mike had award-winning runs on The Flash. He did some really popular Batman stuff. He's done Punisher. Really, a lot of well known for his Punisher stuff. He did Robotech, which I'm a big Robotech fan.
Did I send you that book, Jeff?
Yes. Which one? The one you keep resending?
The Architect.
Yeah. No. He has one called The Architect. Every time he sends me, he always includes that one. I'm like, I feel like I have, and it's just a one-issue graphic novel, and he sent it to me like 5 times. So I'm like, I feel I have a
how many copies you have now
to this issue? Why I give
awesome.
them away? Because I mean, it's a good thing to be able to.
It's a horror graphic novel.
Yeah.
Okay.
And but it's terrible because it's a comic.
Right.
I'll send you guys copies too.
I'm joking. Yeah, he loves sending people comics and things. So.
Oh yeah, we love that.
Yeah, so
I'll include our address and stuff when I email you our stuff.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I've done a little bit of everything. I as I kind of mentioned earlier, I think when we were off air, I did a bunch of graphic novel stuff. I actually recently had done the graphic novel version of The Meg, but based on the book,
very well done.
Not the movie, book. which is very different. Thank you. Yeah, really put a lot of work. And did a lot of those things, with
better than the movies.
But with the page turns and all that stuff too. So it works. Sure. It works really well with that, and a lot of different kind of the different techniques that Scott McCloud talks about in Understanding Comics. That's it. That's one I always recommend people to check out because it shows all the different styles and things you can do with panels that most people don't even do these days, and there's a lot of stuff you can do with it. But yeah, I had written that. I've done a lot of other stuff like that. My comic that is supposed to be coming out from Scout, their kids brand Scoot, is called Nemo the Lad, which is a kind of a reworking of Captain Nemo, but it's a kid version. And I did, which I didn't even know it was like this really popular thing, but I as kind of like a sci-fi fan and different kinds of history and different things, I had looked back on it and saw that, this was originally supposed to be Polish and that's what he wanted. And then, but their publisher was especially scared that it would not sell well in Russia because of things that were going on at that time. So they made him change his nationality. And I'm like, oh, well, it's like, it'd be kind of cool to be able to do a different version of Nemo and not.
So you made him Ukrainian, right?
Yeah, exactly. Not, if I made him that now, he would be, I'm sure. But I know. But I just left him I made him Polish the way that because there is information about the way that Jules Verne originally intended to do it, and I was like, okay, well, I'll have him be Polish, and he'll be connected to these things. And I had no idea. And this is when I just started looking at it and kind of talking about it. All of these Polish Jules Verne fans started contacting me and everything and saying yes and everything, and then they're all sending me all this information and stuff too. I'm like, oh wow, this is really cool. I am not Polish, but I just thought it was I just thought it was great, and just I just thought it was really cool to do that. And then I've actually written some like books and like stories on it too. Especially, I was hoping to kind of help get the sales of the comic going up, but then with the orders and stuff not being as great for any of their, especially kids stuff. Kids books are a tough sell, which I'm sure you guys know or realize, and they don't always get the greatest placement in comic stores and stuff. A lot of times it gets stuck in a corner or whatever. So there's a lot of stuff going against it, but I mean, I'm happy that Scout was even happy to do it, and actually looking at doing a new Kickstarter and adding more pages, having more creators get involved, because it's kind of like an anthology in a way, and it's just more of a fun thing than a serious thing. My books, I wrote like a Christmas story based on an old Polish legend about a Christmas spider. I don't know if you know that, but I also included Polish recipes
Yeah, what is happening? Are you like married to a Polish woman or something? Like what?
No, I just when it's when I'm like in that vein, like that's like when I get into like like I just try to do like you guys say and everything too, you know, just try to honor it and kind of get into it. And it's like I can't, and it's like you can't fake it. Like you have to do your research and know what you're talking about. And my daughter, who used to live in Arizona, is really big into cooking and does all kinds of like gourmet stuff and all kinds of like international foods and stuff. So that's what I was talking to her. I said, hey, can you help me come up with some kind of somewhat original recipes that we can put in here and like the ebook version of this for it. And I did a twist on Around the World in 80 Days. But it's similar kind of thing. But that's just like a prose story. And I was hoping they kind of bounce off of each other. But and they kind of have. I mean, it actually did really well, like on Amazon, which is difficult to do. But I actually, and this is, I'm like, oh, I so want to do this with you guys. But I actually had a lot of people know me for my comic Pistol Fist, which is kind of like a Revolutionary War superhero guy. That is, it's kind of in the same vein. When I had the idea, it's kind of a similar vein to like Lone Ranger and Green Hornet and all these kind of old school, like kind of superhero-y people, and like the Phantom, but let's set in a different time period. And I kind of came up with some cool, historically interesting ideas because my character is actually a runaway slave, and it ties into a lot of real history. And I put you'll enjoy this as a teaching kind of person. I actually put a lot of true history facts at the back of each issue to kind of say, well, this is what the real deal is with this thing that we mentioned in here. And there were a lot of like, it was really cool. A lot of history professors and different things like would like write contact and be like, hey, this is really cool. But also I did not know this. I don't know where they are now, but a lot of the guys who would write those extra little blurbs about staff picks and all that stuff for like Diamond in like the previews magazine. I did not know this until my book was coming out. This is like 2006 until like that time. But they were all history fans. And they all really liked kind of that, like the Revolutionary War time period was one of their favorite time periods. And so like I got a special thing in every issue of previews, which helped. They gave us like, I don't know, like an extra 1,000 probably issues sold.
Which is huge. That's huge.
Yeah, and and I mean, so you know, I mean, it's great. So I mean, I love stuff like, and I was like, oh, this would be so great to do it again because it's been like almost 20 years now to and do like I think it would be cool if you guys do more like if you keep doing more kind of like weathered looking covers and things like that and get into that whole retro vibe and everything because that like
interested in time period pieces. They're so fascinating. Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah. Do you I know we're getting ready to close here. Are there best places that you guys would like people to follow you or contact you?
Yeah. Well, you know, Instagram is a great spot. We get a lot of messages.
What are you there as? What's the title?
It's at gold_key_comics. And so that's a great place to get in touch with us at. Also, if you want to follow along, you know, you can subscribe to our email list on our website, goldkeycomics.com. And we will probably continue to, with each series, have a Kickstarter attached to it. And then we'll continue that series through the direct market once it's up and going. So you can follow us on any of those things. And or just come say hi at a con. You know, we do get out to a few cons here and there. If you see
I was going to say, do you know of any cons that you guys are going to be at this year?
This year we'll probably be at, we always go to San Diego, but we're usually there a little more covert, just kind of doing the meetings and stuff. Because we're in Phoenix, Fan Fusion is one that we care about and try to set up at. We're like on the fence of pulling the trigger this year or not. But either way, if you see us in the wild, we're very approachable.
Yeah. And do you guys are you guys doing anything with like Whatnot or anything like that, or not really?
Yeah, we are.
You don't have to. You don't. I'm just like I just know that's part of the. I know that's kind of part of the gig of the way things go now.
I laugh because this guy right here is like the #1 seller on Whatnot.
Yeah.
So it like just it's so funny because of course, So post-war comics is Lance, and so he's all over on Whatnot. So
he's like no, he's not on there.
Yeah, right.
We're the guys that are running the comic wing of Whatnot are great friends of ours, and
right.
Yeah, there's I said something that we were very excited to announce that issue #2 coming out. You know, if you in your head imagine Whatnot and Gold Key having a baby, what that would be. That'll be very loud and in front of everybody's faces through the Whatnot medium here shortly. So there's something coming up there. I can say it.
Yeah.
Very good.
Shoot. We are doing, so you guys, this is the first, you guys are getting this first. Mad Charcoal, MAD Charcoal, CHARCOAL. He's a fine artist. 7 million plus followers on TikTok now.
Wow.
Huge. He is getting picked up everywhere. We're doing he's a friend of mine. He's coming in. We're doing an exclusive through Whatnot. You'll only be able to get it available on Whatnot for issue #2, Boris Karloff. I can't show it yet, but it's incredible. It'll be some of the craziest art you guys have ever seen. If you follow Mad Charcoal, look at it. We are doing an exclusive cover with him. That announcement's coming up in about 1 week's time. That'll get live. Whatnot came out in a big way and said, let's do it. Let's go. We'll make a big deal out of it. So on the post-war comics channel, it'll be available. Also on the Gold Key channel through Whatnot, it'll be available. And they're going to be sending copies out to a lot of the other vintage sellers that are going to have copies as well to sell on their streams as well. So they're going to make a big deal about it. We are very grateful to them and thankful that they just fronted the dough and said, let's do it. Let's promote it. You're a seller on our stream. We want to get behind you guys. So, yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean, I don't know just how popular, but I know Gold Key is popular. The old Gold Key stuff is fairly popular on Whatnot too. So
yeah, I sell them.
Makes sense. Yeah,
I'm really good at selling the old Gold Key stuff.
Yeah, well, I mean, honestly, my son is too because he loves it so much, and they only do it like I don't know, they do it every couple weeks or once a month or something. And
what's your son's favorite title in Gold Key? You already say it.
He likes Solar Man of Adam. But he likes he really likes the any of the painted covers. He likes the cartoony stuff too. But he really loves like the painted covers of the different things. He's probably, I do think he tends to really like Solar Man of the Atom more than, but he loves Gold Key, period. I mean, because he's just all.
Is he a seller?
Yes, he is, and I don't remember his handle right now. But he was doing stuff for another guy who has been going through rough times because of the economy. So he's my son's been getting back into doing it himself again. But yeah, I mean, he loves it, and he likes hanging out with people there. And there's like just so many comic fans that love Gold Key or love the memories of it and all the stuff attached with it. And you guys are getting the all of that weight put upon your shoulders. But I think you guys, I think the personal touch, like you said, and like just calling up the guy and just asking and talking and listening. I mean, that's the way to go.
And we're now including something that they used to do. We're including some fan art. So if people want to draw Boris and submit it to us, we're including them into the stories. We're reintroducing the Gold Key Kid, which was a thing that happened back in the day, and the Gold Key Comic Club, and some of that sort of stuff we're working on, and different expressions of it. So we really want to honor that, what it's been, and all of that, and still kind of figure out how to bring it forward. So, and guys, like, this is so encouraging when we got a message from you guys, you wanted to chat with us. I mean, it really means a lot. We jump.
Thanks, guys. It's been a pleasure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And now we get to stick our teeth into your things and see what you guys are about. So.
Yep. Sounds good. February 12th is when the thing, and people should click it now because then they'll get notified when it launches. And I'm sure.
And they'll get a shot at winning something. Can I show this real quick?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh yeah, this is very exciting. I forgot that we were doing this.
Is this for like a
giveaway? So first, what?
Yeah, we're gonna be giving away this bad boy.
Oh, nice.
Star Trek #1. It's a 4.0 copy, but that's still a $350 book right
Oh
there.
yeah.
So just a little nod to the past again. This will be part of the campaign. So go and follow it. By following it, you'll have a chance to win this, and that will just keep you up to date with the news, and you can see what's going on and all the fun things we're releasing around it. And yeah,
very cool. That's definitely a reason to sign up and get involved.
Right.
But, well, thank you for hanging out with us. Enjoy the less hot weather in Arizona right now.
I mean, it's freezing for us. It's like, I think 450 today.
Yeah,
60. Yeah, it's freezing.
I weep for you.
Yeah. Believe it or not, I'm in Florida and it's 39 right now. So
oh wow.
Yeah. It's bad for us too.
Yeah.
Mike doesn't know how good he has it.
It was 17 below overnight.
Oh my God.
Okay. We'll let Mike get back to work.
All right.